Hello again for another episode of the Black Superheroes Matter podcast. Today's guest we have Sterling Cartoons from Galileo Studios, and he is joining us for an interesting conversation. He first got his start as a webcomic artist and children's manga author. Sterling is a self-taught animator from Philadelphia. 2 years after creating his first series, The Fantastic Tale of Folklore, Sterling was able to get his current series, Hare, into public schools as a part of their own curriculum. So he's moving and shaking, he's doing things and leaving an impact, and it's just a really great conversation to see him making waves in the artistic space. So without further ado, excited for you to hear Sterling's story. I wanted to take a break from the episode to let you know that we have some merch that is available. Over at Iltopia Studios, you can find the Black Superheroes Matter art book, which is a collection of illustrations that reimagine your favorite superheroes through the eyes of children of color. We also have a bunch of sticker packs, over 120 different sticker designs of your favorite superheroes. More importantly, we have our Color Me Super coloring book series. Definitely check out the merch at shop.iltopia.com or blacksuperheroesmatter.com. And now, back to the episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on the podcast with me. And, how's everything going with you?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to do it. A few people were tagging me, underneath the post and everything. And I've been good. I've been just trying to stay afloat during the, quarantine, I want to say, and just, stay focused.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think when I came up with the idea of doing a podcast, I was really surprised at how many people sort of responded and referred people. I think within before I knew it, I had like 100 comments, and I was like, "Dang,
Yeah,
this
it
is
was a lot.
like it just kind of threw me off." And so then I was like, "Okay, like it looks like this idea that I kind of just woke up with and sort of like put out there that morning, kind of manifested itself, or I kind of spoke it into existence." And so it's
Wow.
I'm really fortunate to be at a space really either like creatively and just with this whole project where I could pursue things like this and really have people like you on and help promote and help sort of build community around the things that we're doing.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you kind of get into creating?
Well, oh my God, I've been drawing like forever, like probably before I can walk, and I don't know, it's kind of just natural, people that can sing, they kind of just like wake up and just start singing, and they just people around them like, hey, like you actually got a voice, they realize they have a talent, so I've just been drawing ever since I could remember. I started off doing comics even when I was in elementary school. And then fast forward to now, I've gotten into animation.
Okay. Yeah. It's I think for me, started trying to do animation first, and then I realized I should probably get into comics first because that takes a lot less time, a lot less resources.
But see, now that I've been doing animation I've been doing it for 2 years now. I actually think it takes me shorter time to do an animation than it does like a full manga or a graphic novel.
Well, yeah, I think because typically when I do like animated things, it's I'm doing probably like 10 to 30 seconds. If I'm doing a
Right.
graphic novel, I'm doing like 100 pages.
Exactly.
And so I think for me to get like a minimum viable product, comics is a lot faster because I could just do like a web comic and it could be like 1 to 8 pages. Whereas if I
Okay.
do 1 to 8 seconds of animation, that's gonna take me a little while, especially if I have to like do a background or any of those things. Then
Right.
then it really adds to it. But both of those. I think both of those for me, they have their own space. They have their own space in sort of like what I do creatively.
That's true. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, and so like what current things are you working on creatively now, though?
A lot. To be honest, I have personal projects. I mean, they're almost endless. To name some, one is Folklore. I did that as far as the actors I work with. They completely recorded that, and then another one is D Spirit, which is kind of like a collectible, like a monster series, like Pokemon, but for minorities and just for all races and stuff like that. So those are some of the two, and then of course I'm always working on commission. So it's kind of like juggling my personal and regular work. And then I do some things with celebrity clients as well. And right now I'm working with a good friend of mine. His name is Freddie O. He's a celebrity blogger and producer, and we're working on a couple of projects as well.
Okay, so it sounds like you're kind of taking it beyond just creating your own work, but you're also really branching out and building a brand for yourself.
Yes, most definitely. I've had dreams and aspirations since I was younger, and you just have to, sometimes to get where you need to be, I mean, that's what it's about. It's about linking up with other people, and we can all help each other, bring us to the next platform. So that's definitely something I'm focused on.
Yeah, and it's I think it's especially in this day and age where people that have been working towards their career, their dream job for years if not decades, and then a pandemic like this happens, and then all that stuff is just gone. Like all that stuff is non-essential. So it's really difficult to pay bills when you don't have that career that you've been focused on for years. And so I think there's like a space now with either entrepreneurs or creators or brand makers to really sort of take control of sort of like their career path and create opportunities for them that can pay off financially. And it looks like you were already kind of ahead of the curve in that respect.
Yeah, and my heart goes out to everyone that's suffering right now. Not too long ago, I was waiting tables, and I thought about myself, even like after the pandemic stuff stroke. I was like, damn, well, if I was still serving tables, I'd be fucked up right now. So yeah, so I think people that are that have already been doing their own thing, then they might, depending on what it is, because some people that do a hair or salon work, they still been affected. But as far as artists, they'll probably be able to still stay afloat. But this should show everybody, more importantly now than ever, that as time goes forward, they should start putting more time into crafting and honing their own skills in case like this, because nothing's ever even guaranteed. You even see, I don't know if it's Universal, but the people that made Trolls, I mean, they put their movie streaming. They didn't, delay their movie, after the AMC's and stuff closed down. So you're seeing people even market and sell their products differently during this time, and adapting. So that's definitely what I would suggest to other people to adapt and just use it for the experience for the future as things move forward.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is a paradigm shift. I mean, for all those people that were sort of resistant to technology, I mean, like, there's no, like we see that like if you're resistant at this point, then you just either don't want to be in business or you just don't want to be connected anymore.
Exactly. You will definitely get wiped out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like all those sort of free market connoisseurs. I mean, this is the free market at play.
Right.
And you either get with it or you get lost, because that like a lot of people, it's really sort of it's kind of a jarring to really think about, like, this is not like the world that we're living in right now was not like this 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's very true. Like things, I mean, things can change overnight,
Yeah.
especially if you're brick and mortar. I mean, your situation can flip like a coin.
Yeah, like it's like this was not this was not the world that we were living in last Valentine's Day.
Yes,
Like,
very, very much so.
man, it's just crazy. And so what sort of like led you down this route of really becoming a creator, you know, particularly in comics and animation, but really just a creator in general. I think for me, I didn't get into creativity until I played football, and so I kind of have one of those traditional, like, you know, black guy plays football, gets a scholarship, tries to go to the NFL, sort of like, you know, stories. But I ended up having two hip surgeries, and after my second hip surgery, I wasn't sure if I was going to play, and so I ended up diving deeper into being creative from like a comic book history class that I took. And so for you, like, what was sort of like your catalyst to like really explore creativity and on a deeper level than just like drawing here and there?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, I've always done it. I want to say more than here and there, but the deciding factor of me wanting to do it professionally was, like I mentioned earlier, I was serving tables. I just was tired of it. I was doing it for probably I don't know, like 4 years. And I just noticed after a while that, hey, I'm actually making more money at a faster rate from me doing my art. So I was like, well, maybe I should just take a leap of faith and just put all my time into my art. Because at that point, even though I was working my job and doing the art, it kind of was like they both were suffering because at my job I would be tired because I'll be up all night trying to draw to make up for the lack of hours that I had for art. But then as far as the art, I couldn't really push my art out there like that to really get, more eyes on it because I would spend 8 hours or so at my job. So I just decided to just make that leap, so I could spend more time with my art and, hopefully get more eyes on it. And I haven't looked back since then. I've been working on my own for a while now.
Oh yeah, yeah. And quite often when you kind of take that leap of faith, there often becomes this reckoning of um, doing work for hire or getting paid to do the stuff that you are
Right.
creating. And I think quite often people don't necessarily consider those options when they dive deep into it, because they're just like, oh, I want to be an influencer, I want to have, X amount of followers, I want to, have a popular series, or I want to be a popular creator, I want to do commissions. But people don't really realize that, it's one thing to be an original creator, and then it's another one to be a work for hire.
Right, right. That's very true. That's very true. That's even something now that I don't want to say I feel like I'm now just starting to kind of get control over balancing both of those type of things because you can get pulled intensely in each direction, because you could really want to work on your things, but your things might not necessarily be paying your bills or be your main access to money. So you do want to have commissions, but then you don't want to be so diluted in commissions that you're not putting time into your own personal works, because I think that's important too. So it just has to be a good balance. But what you just said, I mean, that was true. You hit a spot on.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I think it takes that one commission client to really make you like reassess your whether you are really in it for work for hire work or just to be creative. It just
But,
takes
it,
that
but
one commissioning.
But I'm sure you can agree that it is, like I tell a lot of people as well, it is important that once you learn how to do comics or anything, once you learn a skill for yourself, people will pay you for that skill that you learn.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's sort of the blessing of it, is that if you got it, you got it. I mean, like, if you're a good artist, if you're a good storyteller, if you have the technical skills, there's always going to be it's going to be an opportunity for you to further your career and really gain control over sort of like your destiny.
Right, right.
And often like that is kind of the great equalizer. I think in comics and stuff is as Black creators, you could make amazing work and nobody would even know that, like nobody would even know what you look like. you know
That's very true.
and often I think it parallels a lot with sort of like the history of literature and how particular people were sort of shunned out just by either them being of a particular gender or a particular race.
Hmm.
I think really creativity in general sort of just allows for you to make leaps and strides and avoid some of the sort of the surface level things that really get in the way of people's careers and progress.
Right, I agree with you.
Man, it's just interesting, especially now that the whole physical aspect of creating and connecting is sort of off. And I think about this like particularly with like conventions because I live out in Portland, and the Rose City Comic Con, Portland's a big comic convention, just announced that they're canceling this year, and I think
Wow.
they're in September, and so they canceled for September, and so they're not going to have one till next September or September 2021, and so I'm like, dang, like um that is often like a big show for me whenever I do it. And so
Mm.
for you, like, is it like how have like conventions played a part in sort of like your success in sort of like the creative scene?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't done a lot of them. I have done art shows, and from that, I have met different people and stuff like that. But I was looking forward actually to doing some conventions this year to really push my own personal work out, in, like face to face. But just like you said, I actually was going to be attending MomoCon, um, and it just, I mean, it's just they just did the same thing. Basically, it's next year, and I mean, I just pretty much I haven't even looked at any other art shows or anything because I know that pretty much it's going to be the same news no matter where it's at.
Yeah, it's and I think once they announced that, I think the first thing I did is I hit him up and be like, "Hey, are you doing registrations yet?" And because it's like I think probably every other person that I've talked to on the podcast, they mention MomoCon. They mention, either that or Heroes Con or Dragon Con. And
Mhm.
it's like, those are the things that are so like integral to sort of like the success of like indie publishers, Black publishers, uh
Very true.
anybody in sort of like the Black creative scene in comics, because um you know people aren't getting those opportunities with Marvel and DC like that,
Right.
but they're still able to make book sales, and they're still able to push out the work and sort of push the creative scene forward through like Kickstarters and conventions, and so it's just kind of sad to see how like with all the stuff that's happening, like that integral sort of element of the scene is sort of just not accessible right now.
And as well as I actually, well, in my I guess position, I actually do like schools. I'll tour schools and talk to kids, and that's usually actually how I get my book sales. So I mean, that even affected that. I mean, schools were closed early. I couldn't finish out, the school year going to see kids and selling books. So it just kind of, I mean, it's the same thing. I still suffered.
Yeah, man. And I think that I don't think that that's really talked about as much, because I'm a teaching artist as well, and so I go around in Portland public schools, and I teach like sticker making, and I teach all these
Yeah.
different things creatively. But really, I feel like there the avenues for like getting into schools and school libraries
Mhm.
for creators, that often isn't really explored as or really promoted as much as I think it should be. because
it isn't. I think most people also might think it's like hard or impossible.
yeah, when really you just need to just make a connection with somebody there and show your stuff, and
Very
they'll
true.
just be like, oh, we'll buy 8 books or something like that. It's I think for me it's been that easy.
Yeah, it is.
Like and part of it is because when books are in circulation, they just get worn down and then you have to buy more.
Right.
Like it's kind of crazy. And so like what sort of what are sort of like the topics and themes that like you tend to explore with the work that you're creating?
Oh yeah, in my personal work, I definitely love to dive into spirituality. So most of my work, it of course will have comedy and action and stuff like that. But I definitely like to just have different things in it that makes you just think about having faith and having hope and believing in yourself. Just things that when you read it, you can take it with you and you actually like learn something. You can apply it to your life.
Okay. And so like what is sort of why have you like taken that approach? Because obviously like with everything in comics and cartoons, big anime heads are like, oh, I want to just see a whole bunch of fight scenes or
Right.
like stuff like that. So like what has sort of like kept you going down this path?
I think it just needs to be something more. I've had my own personal experiences with spirituality. Of course, I grew up like apostolic in faith, like Christian stuff like that, and I read the Bible, but I never really had like a personal relationship with God until I had like a near death experience, and I like personally like know that okay, if it wasn't for God, like I would be dead right now. I would not be alive. So I decided after that okay, you know, but let me incorporate some spiritual messages that just are positive. That's about love. That just have a positive message to them because I think that's missing from the media in general. You know, across the board, whether it's music or movies or comics, anime, everything.
Yeah, and I think just sort of being culturally relevant is
Right.
has always been sort of my approach to things,
Okay.
because being culturally relevant means that you can relate to people through these stories and through characters without having to sort of be preachy about it,
And that's very important.
Yeah, it's it's all about the approach sometimes. Like you could have the most amazing art in the world, but if you approach it, in a way that's insincere, then you're just better off just making posters. like you wasting your time doing internal pages, you might as well just make some posters, make some cover art. That's about it.
I agree. I agree with you, and I feel the same way. Even culturally, even from like a spiritual approach. You won't. If anyone looks through my stuff, you won't find like it's not like the Bible's gonna pop out and slap you across the face, but it just has light spiritual notes and stuff. So in the lines of what you just said about the culture and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so to kind of wrap up the podcast, what things are you sort of excited to come out on your end? Either some new projects that you're about to drop, or either a project that you're currently working on, or yeah, like if there's anything that you want to promote, feel free to right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about my personal project, D Spirit. I've been wanting to do that forever. I grew up like on Pokemon, and I mean that's probably one of my biggest influences. So I'm definitely excited to create my own, monster capture series. There's another series I'm working on. It's kind of like a rubber hose, kind of, but it's like a black rubber hose character, which those kind of didn't exist in the 1930s, other than the minstrel characters with the big lips and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
eating watermelons.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be nice to take that and actually put like a positive, symbolism to it. So that's something I'm excited about. And then my other projects, like I said, would just be my collaborations with people that work in the industry, and just ways to elevate and excel, and just help everybody that's on team with me.
Okay. Yeah. And so where can people find your stuff at?
You can find me at Sterling Cartoons on everything. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Sterling Cartoons.
Okay. As we finish up, I have a notorious train that tends to ride by my house during my recordings, and so I try to do my best to like mute my mic. But
when it comes,
when it comes, but there'll be times where like within like a 30-minute session, the train will come twice. And I'm like, dude, like, come on now. Like, what do we, why? And like, it gets obnoxious too. Like, it gets real obnoxious. And so I apologize for any train noises that may come up.
Oh,
but,
no, you're fine. I have a
but
dog, so I was afraid that he was going to start barking.
oh, yeah. Yeah, but I definitely appreciate the time, and we'll definitely be looking out for more stuff that's coming on the horizon, and just really excited to again just like connect with other creators that are doing stuff, especially in comics and animation, because quite often I was like, dang, I think I'm the only person I know that's doing what I'm doing, and it's good to listen and talk to and see people that are doing a variation of the same thing I'm doing,
Yeah, I agree with you. There's even though it's when you're in the circle, it seems like it's a lot of us, but it's really not a lot of us that's doing it, especially like you said in comics and animation. So I love the community. I love befriending and knowing like-minded individuals, and just thank you for having me on your platform. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so again, we will be on the lookout for more stuff coming on the horizon with you, and hopefully you stay safe with everything that's going on right now.
Thank you. I definitely will. Same to you as well.
Oh yeah, and so with that, we'll call it a wrap, and really appreciate it, man.
No problem.
And there we have it. That is another episode of the Black Superheroes Matter podcast in the wraps. Again, the purpose of this podcast is for people to get exposed to a variety of different things that Black people are creating in the arts and entertainment industry. The goal is for this podcast to bring light to all those and those creators, because as a community, we have the opportunity to skirt some of the problems that we've seen in this day and age when it comes to expressing Blackness. And so if you love this, definitely check out the more work that we're doing. Go to @BlackSuperheroesMatter, or you can go to blacksuperheroesmatter.com to check out the blog and the write-ups that we do on these guests. And if you're so inclined, feel free to support my work at Iltopia, where we have the Black Superheroes Matter art book, the Black Superheroes Matter sticker packs, and even coloring books, activity guides. And so if you want to check that stuff out, check it out at shop.iltopia.com. It's all Black owned. I might add, they're all handmade products, and they're all made with love for the community that has really given me the opportunity to find my place in this world. And so, again, thank you for another wonderful episode. Thank you for listening. Feel free to follow all the stuff that Black Superheroes Matter is cranking out. And excited to share another wonderful guest with you on next episode. So without further ado, thank you very much.